Hey guys, KR here with another review. This time I'll be reviewing the deluxe X-SwordMan Wonder Ride book from Kamen Saber. This is a special Wonder Ride book that lets Kamen Saikou turn into his power-up form. So, let's get started. First up, we'll look at the X-SwordMan Wonder Ride book on its own. So this is another big book, as is typical of these power-up Wonder Ride books. Though this one is a bit different in that instead of being stylized after a typical book, it's instead based on a comic book. You see it has nice green and orange colors to it, as well as this more angular look, with all these different little bits to embellish it and give it a kind of crinkled comic book feel, or kind of a look of being a bit more flashy. You have the cover illustration with the title X-SwordMan in English as well as the Wonder language. It also has Kamen Rider written in Wonder language both here and here, as well as the indicator to what slot it goes in the Sword Driver, which is the Divine Beast slot, which is interesting considering that the illustration here shows this very colorful samurai kind of character. And also, while a lot of Wonder Ride books have a bit of a missing part to it, in this case it actually is meaningful, as within this missing section we actually can see that it reads Saikou in the Wonder language. Looking at it from the side, you can see it has various pages which will come into play when we get to it. You have the back, which has the read mark. The button is down here. And it does come with batteries, so you just need to remove the tab to get it to activate, as well as the speaker up here. For comparison, here it is next to the Kinnobuki Wonder Ride book, which obviously is quite a bit bigger than. But for a closer size comparison, here it is next to Jao Dragon. So they are about the same size overall. So, there are a few sounds it can make on its own. First up, we have the title announcement. Then we can open it up to the story page. So here, we can see this image of what his X-SwordMan form will look like. Again, we have the word bubble saying Saikou, X-SwordMan in Wonder language. And then we have the writing over here. I'm actually going to get into that after we hear the sounds it makes in SwordMan. It has 3 story sounds. Now, normally I don't get into what's written on the inside of the cover page, but in this case it actually is significant, because while this part reads Mokuji, the rest of it is actually saying the same words as what says for the story sounds. So the first section is Episode 1, Subete no iro de tatakai. Second one is Episode 2, Ore no subete wa ude ni iku. And the third one is Episode 3, Ore no subete wa ashi ni iku. And of course, translations for that stuff will be in the description. Also, this does have a spring-latched, or kind of spring-loaded cover page. So, when you open up, it'll just spring open on its own. And you can also see that it does open pretty flat, pretty clean, rather than at an angle. Next, we'll get to the transformation, for which we'll need the X-SwordMan Wonder Ride book, the Saikou driver buckle, as well as the Kogoken Saikou with the Kinnobuki book already loaded in. And the way this is going to work is that we're going to put the X-SwordMan book into the buckle, and then use the button on the bottom of the sword to hit the button on top of the buckle, similar to how the Caliber driver works. And there we have the transformation into Kamen Rider Saikou X-SwordMan. And as you could hear, the sounds from the Doka-Dokaaan Saikou were made to be timed well with the transformation sound there. And so now here we have the first of 3 henshin pages. So, in this one we have a big 2-page spread, where we can see Saikou's X-SwordMan form in all its glory. It's got a very stylized look to it, with a lot of screen tone, which is what gives it this kind of dotted look, which is often used in comic books. We've got this sound effect bubble. It says Baaan, an X-SwordMan in the Wonder language. Then here, it says Subite no iro de tatakai, same as the first story sound. There are also a couple of subforms for this that you get by pressing the button on top one time and then another time. So, doing it the first time. Changes Saikou into X-SwordMan Powerful. Here we have a very purple shade to it. We can see Saikou's shadow here, and then all the armor has gone to the right arm. We've got Zuba-Zubaaan in here. And then here it says, Ore no subete wa ude ni iku, same as the second story sound. Then we'll do it one more time. And we get X-SwordMan Wonderful, where all of the armor has now gone to his right leg. You have Doka-Dokaaan in here. Got a bit of an orange shade to it. And here it says, Ore no subite wa ashi ni iku. Now of note that you can actually skip to these forms during the transformation. And to get full effect, this thing has a memory of which was the last story sound you used. So if you press it again here, it'll get the second story sound. So to go straight to X-Saikou Powerful, we'll just press the button twice. And we can do the same thing for Saikou Wonderful. And also here's listen to the basic X-SwordMan transformation without the sounds from the Doka-Dokaaan Saikou. Next, we'll get to the special attack or finished reading mode. So for that, when it's attached to the driver, we're going to close out the book and open it to the story page and press in the cover button. And then we'll press this to get to the special attack.
Finish reading.
That gives us the Saikou colorful attack. We also go through the attacks again. So there's the Saikou powerful attack.
Finish reading. Saikou wonderful.
Which gives us the Saikou wonderful. Sorry about that, but doing that again.
Finish reading. Saikou wonderful.
And one of the cool things is actually you can pull back a page and it'll go to Saikou powerful.
Saikou powerful.
But if you pull back one more page, it'll act as if you're closing the book entirely. However, you can also just go through the attacks one by one.
Finish reading. Saikou powerful. Saikou powerful. Saikou wonderful.
And one more thing to note when using this book is that when you press down the button, you want to make sure it's a quick press and release, because if you hold down the button, then the first two pages actually get stuck and won't fully open. So you want to make sure it's a quick press and release. That way it'll open up all the way. Next, we'll use the X-SwordMan book with the sword driver, and as indicated here, we'll put it in the leftmost slot, rather. And similar to Kinobuki, and other special Wonder Ride books, the sounds from this book override any from the sword driver. Though we can use this to get to the other forms as well by just doing another Rekabato. And as you can also see here, for whatever reason, the sword driver sometimes has a bit of difficulty reading the chip on here. It might be just weird placement inside the book, but it doesn't always read it, as sometimes it just gets a red color flashing, which means that it acts like there's no book that's being read. We can also use the Hisatsu Doka. Which gives us the Densetsu no Shinju Hisatsu Geki. Then we can use the finish reading function on the X-SwordMan book.
Finish reading.
And finally, we can use the X-SwordMan book with the Ankokuken Kurayami. And as you can hear, it reads as Giant Monster. And there we go. Overall, this is a fun and unique Wonder Ride book, not only in the way it's styled after a comic book instead of a normal book, which gives it a bit of flair, but also in just the general way it functions, with how it has the basic transformation, and then two more, as well as being really smart in how you can skip different transformations and even go back a page. Not to mention, it does work well when used with the Kogoken Saikou, as they did time the sounds very well to each other, and it definitely helps explain why the sound effects for the second Saikou Hakko attack do sound like they're more for transformation. And in general, I'd say this book actually further justifies the buckle here, as it actually makes more sense to use this buckle for this than simply the way that the Kogoka and Saikou use it to pull out and transform. In fact, I'd actually say that it's better to get the Kogoka and Saikou if you're planning on getting this book as well, because I feel like it really adds on a lot of playability that you don't get from just the sword and the regular book. And luckily, like with the Caliber Driver and Jao Dragon sets, there's also a set that gives you both the Kogoka and Saikou, and of course the Saikou Driver, as well as the X-SwordMan Winter Ride Book. So if you haven't bought the Kogoka and Saikou yet and you're on the fence, I definitely recommend going after the bundle set. Next time I'll be looking at Kamen Saikou's corresponding RKF figure. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you're new and would like to see more, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. And for now, this is KRox50, writing off.